Mughal Dynasty, the Royal Emperors.
The Mughal Empire was one of the largest and most powerful empires in Indian history, lasting from the early 16th century to the mid-19th century. The empire is known for its rich cultural and architectural achievements, as well as its role in shaping India's political and social landscape. The Mughals were also instrumental in shaping the religious and cultural identity of India, particularly through the promotion of Persian as the court language and the patronage of both Hindu and Muslim art, literature, and culture. Zahiuddin Muhammad Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, was born in 1483 in present-day Uzbekistan. He was a descendant of Timur on his father's side and Genghis Khan on his mother's after multiple unsuccessful attempts to consolidate power in Central Asia. Babur turned his focus to India in 1526. He defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at the Battle of Panipat, a decisive victory that marked the beginning of the Mughal Empire in India. Babur's reign, however, was short, lasting only 4 years, as he died in 1530. During his rule, he laid the foundation of Mughal rule, and his memoirs, the Baburnama, offer rich insights into his character, military campaigns, and the natural beauty of the lands he ruled. Naseeruddin Muhammad Humayun, the eldest son of Babur, inherited a fragile empire. He faced challenges both from within and outside his territories. Humayun's reign was marked by internal instability, including his inability to manage the ambitious Afghan warlord Sher Shah Suri, who eventually defeated him at the Battle of Karnauj in 1540. Humayun was forced into exile, and the Mughal Empire was temporarily usurped by the Suri dynasty. Humayun's reign is often considered a transitional phase, where Mughal power was challenged, but his exile and subsequent return in 1555 paved the way for the eventual resurgence of the empire under his son Akbar. After 15 years of exile in Persia, Humayun regained the throne in 1555 with Persian support, defeating the Suri Empire in a series of battles. His second reign, however, was brief. He died in 1556 after a tragic fall down the stairs of his library in Delhi. Despite his short return to power, Humayun's reign marked a critical turning point for the Mughal dynasty, as his restoration set the stage for the expansion and consolidation of Mughal rule under his son Akbar the Great. Akbar the Great was the third Mughal emperor, ascending the throne at the age of 13 after Humayun's death. His reign is considered one of the most significant in Indian history. Akbar expanded the Mughal Empire significantly through a series of military campaigns, incorporating large parts of northern and central India, including Gujarat, Bengal, and the Deccan. He implemented a policy of religious tolerance, forming alliances with Hindu Rajputs, abolishing the jizya tax on non-Muslims, and creating the Din-e-Ilahi in an attempt to merge various religious philosophies. Akbar's administration was revolutionary, introducing reforms like the Mansabdari system, which organized the empire's military and bureaucratic personnel. He also patronized the arts and culture, leading to a golden age in Mughal architecture, painting, and literature. Naseeruddin Muhammad Jahangir, Akbar's son, ascended the throne in 1605. His reign was marked by relative political stability and continued expansion of the empire. Jahangir is often remembered for his patronage of the arts, particularly painting, where the Mughal school flourished during his rule. His personal life, however, was tumultuous. His deep affection for his wife Nur Jahan, who exercised considerable political influence, dominated his court. Jahangir faced revolts from his sons, notably Khusro Mirza, and struggled with the growing power of his wife's family. His reign also saw the beginning of European colonial competition in India, with the establishment of English trading posts. Jahangir was tolerant of different faiths, but his reign was marred by his interactions with the Persian Safavids and conflicts with the Rajputs. Shahryar was the youngest son of Jahangir and briefly became emperor after his father's death in 1627. However, his reign was more nominal than effective, as he was largely under the control of powerful courtiers. His rule lasted only a few months, and in 1628, he was replaced by his brother Shah Jahan, who claimed the throne after a bloody struggle for succession. Shah Jahan, the fifth Mughal emperor, is best known for commissioning the Taj Mahal, a symbol of eternal love built in memory of his beloved wife Mumtaz Mahal. His reign marked the zenith of Mughal architecture, with the construction of the Red Fort in Delhi and Jama Masjid. He consolidated Mughal power in the Deccan, particularly through the annexation of Bijapur and Golconda. However, Shah Jahan's reign ended in tragedy when his son Aurangzeb led a rebellion, deposed him, and imprisoned him in the Agra fort until his death in 1666. Despite his later personal misfortunes, Shah Jahan's reign was one of cultural and architectural brilliance. Aurangzeb was the sixth Mughal emperor and one of the most controversial figures in Indian history. After deposing his father Shah Jahan in a bloody coup, he ruled for nearly 5 decades, during which he expanded the empire to its greatest territorial extent, including the southern Deccan region. However, his reign is often criticized for its religious orthodoxy, as he reimposed the jizya tax on non-Muslims, destroyed Hindu temples, and enforced stricter Islamic law. His military campaigns, particularly in the Deccan, drained the empire's resources and set the stage for internal fragmentation. Despite his territorial conquests, Aurangzeb's policies contributed to the weakening of the empire as regional powers like the Marathas, Sikhs, and Rajputs began to assert greater autonomy. Azam Shah was the eldest son of Aurangzeb. After his father's death in 1707, Azam Shah briefly ascended the throne but was quickly defeated by his cousin Bahadur Shah I in the Battle of Jajau. Azam Shah was killed in the battle, and his brief reign marked the end of Aurangzeb's direct line on the throne. Bahadur Shah, also known as Shah Alam, became emperor after defeating his brothers in the succession struggle following Aurangzeb's death. His reign, which lasted from 1707 to 1712, was characterized by efforts to restore the Mughal Empire to its previous glory. Though it faced significant challenges, Bahadur Shah attempted to reverse the harsh policies of his father Aurangzeb and fostered a more tolerant environment. However, by the end of his reign, the empire was already weakening, and regional powers were growing stronger, notably the Marathas, Sikhs, and Rajputs. Jahangir Shah, the eldest son of Bahadur Shah, ascended the throne in 1712, but was quickly outmaneuvered by his political rivals, including the Sayyid brothers. His reign, lasting less than a year, was largely ineffective and marked by further internal instability. Jahangir Shah's indulgent and luxurious lifestyle, along with his inability to manage the empire's declining power, led to his deposition in favor of his son-in-law Farrukhsiyar. Farrukhsiyar came to the throne with the backing of the Sayyid brothers, who effectively controlled the Mughal government. Farrukhsiyar attempted to assert his own authority and limit the Sayyids' power, but was unsuccessful. His reign was marked by increasing factionalism and political instability, culminating in his overthrow and death in 1719, a year that saw the rise of multiple short-lived rulers. Rafi'u Darajat briefly became emperor in 1719 after Farrukh Siyar's deposition. His reign was a mere few months, as he was seen as a puppet ruler controlled by the Sayyid brothers. He died under mysterious circumstances, likely poisoned, marking the end of his short reign. Rafi'u Daulah Shah Jahan II, the brother of Rafi'u Darajat, was briefly installed as emperor by the Sayyid brothers in 1719. His reign was similarly short-lived, and he was soon deposed and replaced by another puppet ruler. His time on the throne did little to alter the deteriorating political situation within the empire. Muhammad Shah, known as Rangeela for his indulgent and carefree lifestyle, ascended the throne in 1719. His reign marked the continuation of the empire's decline, characterized by internal instability, the rise of regional powers, and external threats. Muhammad Shah's inability to control the Marathas, Sikhs, and the growing influence of the British East India Company led to significant territorial losses. The most notable event of his reign was the Persian invasion of Nadir Shah in 1739, which resulted in the looting of Delhi and the plundering of the Mughal Empire's wealth. Muhammad Shah's reign ended in 1748, and the empire continued its downward trajectory. Ahmed Shah was the son of Muhammad Shah. His reign was marked by the growing power of regional forces, including the Marathas and the Afghans. Ahmed Shah's rule was largely ineffective, as he was unable to assert control over the empire's vast territories. In 1754 he was deposed, and his reign is often viewed as one of the final chapters of the Mughal Empire's collapse. Mirza Azizuddin Muhammad was installed as emperor by the powerful Sayyid brothers, but he was essentially a puppet ruler, with real power resting with his handlers. His reign was marked by increasing factionalism and instability, and by 1759, he was deposed and imprisoned. The empire was now effectively under British control, and the Mughal dynasty had little power left. Shah Jahan III, another brief ruler, was installed as emperor by the military faction led by Mirza Najaf Khan, but his reign lasted only a year before he was deposed in 1760. His reign is often seen as a reflection of the increasing irrelevance of the Mughal emperors in the face of British expansion and the dominance of regional military leaders. Shah Alam II became emperor during a time of great crisis for the Mughal Empire. His reign was characterized by internal strife, including the Maratha invasions and the loss of large territories, particularly in Bengal. Shah Alam's rule was largely ineffective, and in 1788, he was forced to flee Delhi after a Maratha invasion, marking the first of his two reigns. The Mughal Empire was increasingly controlled by regional powers and European colonists. Mahmud Shah briefly ruled as Shah Jahan IV in 1788, but his reign was marked by chaos and factional struggles. He was deposed soon after ascending the throne, and his brief reign marked the diminishing power of the Mughal emperors. Restored to the throne by the British in 1788 after the Marathas expelled him, Shah Alam II ruled as a puppet emperor under British control. During this time the Mughal Empire had little territorial control and was relegated to ceremonial status. He died in 1806, and his reign marked the end of the Mughal Empire as a political force in India. Akbar II became emperor in 1806, but his reign was merely a ceremonial position, with actual power residing in the British East India Company. Akbar II tried to maintain the dignity of the Mughal title, but was unable to resist the growing influence of the British. His reign saw the complete political eclipse of the Mughal Empire, with the British becoming the undisputed rulers of India. Bahadur Shah II, the last Mughal emperor, reigned from 1837 until the Indian Rebellion of 1857. His reign was marked by a decline in imperial authority, as the British had become the dominant power in India during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Bahadur Shah was symbolically the leader of the revolt, but was captured by the British after the defeat of the rebels. The British deposed him, exiled him to Rangoon, Burma, and officially ended the Mughal Empire. His deposition marked the final collapse of the Mughal dynasty. Even after its fall, the legacy of the Mughal Empire continues to influence Indian culture, architecture, and governance. The Mughal period marked a critical moment in the development of South Asian civilization, and its legacy is still visible in modern India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. The use of Mughal architectural styles, such as in the Qutub Minar and Red Fort, and the continued significance of Urdu as a language, shows how empires, even when politically defeated, can leave lasting cultural legacies.